welcome back to the Chronic Chronicles. It's Lexi here, and today we're diving into something I'm super fascinated by, the connection between gut health and inflammation, and why this matters so much if you're living with chronic illnesses. I first started noticing this connection when I was trying to manage my own flares, and I'll be honest, gut health was never really on my radar. Why would it be? Like, no one brought that up. I honestly didn't even really know that gut health or the gut microbiome or anything like that was ever a thing. But once I started to learn more, and really, especially in grad school, is when I started to learn more about it. I went to grad school for bacteriology, so that kind of makes sense. I started experimenting with my routine and I saw real changes in how I felt. So, today we're going to break it down. What's the science behind this? How does gut health influence inflammation? What disrupts the gut? And most importantly, what can we do to support it? And like, what have I done to support it? As always, this is based on research and my personal experience. I'm not a doctor, so please use this info to empower your conversation with your own healthcare team. Okay, before we get right into the episode, I want to give you like a little bit of a life update, things that have been going on with me. If you follow me on social media, you know that I started doing the 75 strong chronic illness edition, which is kind of like my version of 75 hard. I don't know if you guys all know what 75 hard is. Essentially, let me like Google what the rules were for 75 hard. Hold on. What is 75 hard? 75 hard is a transformative mental toughness program and not a fitness program, though you can expect to hit the gym if you decide to sign on to the challenge. It makes a lot of promises. 75 hard is the only program that can permanently change your life from the way of your thinking to the level of discipline of approach. Oh my God, to the level of discipline you approach every single task in front of you. Okay? So what were the rules? Hold on. All right. So the rules were choose a diet, any diet, and stick with it. That means no cheat days, and you have to cut out all alcohol. Do two 45-minute workouts every day. One must be outside. Drink a gallon of water every day. Read 10 pages of a motivational nonfiction book, and take a progress picture every day. Okay. So that was the original trend that went around. I don't even know when that maybe like 2 years ago or last year or something. My version of it, because, well, one, a little background about me. I love challenges, like 30-day challenges, whatever, 10-day challenges, however many days it may be. I love little challenges like that. I love like habits, habit tracking, goals, goal setting, all of that stuff. But I have chronic illnesses and I have ADHD. So sometimes it's like really hard for me to stick to those things because they're so like cut and dry and there's no flexibility to it. So I thought, let's not do the 75 hard. Let's do the 75 strong. And I made my own little habit trackers. If you're watching this on video, I'm showing it to you. They're cute. So let's go through my main habits for this. And I am doing it for 75 days. Oh, also, I should say one of the like rules of the 75 hard challenge was that if you mess up, like if you don't hit everything one day, then you start over from day one and try again. So somebody could be on day like 55 and not complete something and then start over. And I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna do that, but I will say if I like don't complete something that day, or if like I don't adjust and like at least try to complete it, which I'll get into what I mean by that, then I'll add a day. I'm not going to start over, but I'll, move. I'll add a day to the end, basically. Um, Now I should also tell you that I'm only on day two. So we're new into this program if you want to try it with me. Okay. My main habits are eat 3 meals a day, which sounds really basic, but I really struggle with that. Like, really, really struggle to get 3 meals in a day. The next habit is eat mostly. So I'm going for like 80-20, like 80% mostly anti-inflammatory, Mediterranean style, whole food diet vibes 80% of the time. It is summer and I do love an ice cream cone. So I will let myself have that occasionally, but I'm trying to be very cognizant of the food that I'm choosing and trying to pick mostly anti-inflammatory Mediterranean whole food type foods. The next habit is 7 to 10,000 steps a day. I'm going to try to lean more towards 10,000. Like 10,000 is my real goal, but if I hit 7,000, I call that a win as well. Because honestly, I work from home. I have chronic illnesses, so like most days, it's hard to even get like 4,000 if I'm not like actively trying. So I think that 7 to 10,000 is a good goal. The next one is move 2 times a day. And so, like, one of them would be like my daily walk to try to get my step goal. And then another one would be like some form of exercise, which I have a schedule of that at the moment of like what I would do. And some of those include like pickleball or going to the driving range or going swimming at the pool. Like, those also include a movement. So I'm trying not to be so like cut and dry. You have to do like an ab workout or something like that, like a movement. But then also there's like I do physical therapy at home. So physical therapy could count for my second movement of the day, or a YouTube yoga workout, or a YouTube workout, or actually going to my gym and doing a workout. So and also I'm going to be tracking all of this stuff, not only on my habit tracker that I can like cross it off, but I'm journaling about it and tracking my meals, tracking what types of exercises I'm doing that day, how many steps I'm getting that day. And I'm also really, really tracking, tuning in on how those things make me feel. Like, how did I feel after that meal? Or how did I feel after those movements? Was I really sore the next day? Did I have a lot of back pain the next day? Did I have a flare the next day? Can I tune in on exactly what caused that flare? So there's kind of like a twofold going on with this challenge. One, I am trying to get stronger. I am trying to get healthier. I am trying to lose a little bit of weight. Sorry. I know that we don't talk about that, but I am trying to lose a little weight. But also, I'm trying to like really track my symptoms and track what I'm eating and doing and moving and doing all of that stuff. So that's part of it. It's kind of twofold. Okay, my next goal is being out in the sun for 30 minutes. This is where habit stacking comes in. So, what I've been doing is I get my 30 minutes of sunshine on my daily walk. And that also, so you know what I'm saying? I only have a couple more goals. My other goal is to drink 80 to 100 ounces of water a day, which to some people may not sound like it's that hard of a habit to hit, but I didn't hit it yesterday. I didn't hit it yesterday, okay? I think I got like maybe 60 ounces of water in yesterday, which is still a lot for me. So I'm not like counting that as a bad. I'm not holding myself back on that. I'm gonna try to be lenient with this whole situation. But I have one of these bottles. This is 40 ounces. So if I get two of these 40-ounce bottles, then I'm sitting good. And one of these, I think I'm doing like my morning one. I'm just gonna make myself a morning water and put an element packet in there or whatever electrolyte packet I'm using that day because plain water, I don't know if anyone else experiences this, but for some reason, with me, if I drink plain water, like in the morning, whatever, or just in general, really, if I drink plain water, then I get really, really nauseous. Like, really nauseous. I do not feel good. And I get kind of like dizzy. And I'm like, is that a POTS thing? I don't know. So if anyone experiences that, you can, if you're listening to this on Spotify, you can leave a comment. Leave me a comment and let me know because that's weird. But yeah, so that's why I'm doing like my first water bottle of the day with an electrolyte packet. And I feel like that's been working. And I'm not feeling that like dizzy, nauseous feeling. So, but if I can get two of those in a day, I'm doing really well. But yeah, so fun fact about me is that I'm like chronically dehydrated and I literally have been my whole life. I actually hate drinking water. I feel like water does not make me feel good. I don't feel good. I don't like it. I don't like the way it tastes. I've never once craved water ever in my life, which might be a problem, but I just never have. It's not like refreshing to me. I don't like it. So what I crave is coffee. Anyways, 80 to 100 ounces of water is a big goal for me, so hopefully we'll get there. My next habit is read 10 pages a day, and this is whatever book I want to read. Also, I was kind of going back and forth on whether or not I was ever going to share this with you guys, but I'm reading the Bible. I wouldn't say that I'm like really the most religious person or really religious at all. I would say that I am confused religiously. I grew up in a religion, I guess you could say, not like heavily in a religion, but um yeah, I don't know. I don't want to like get too off track and get too much into that, but I whatever, grew up around religion kind of. But like when I was younger and I did like Bible study like for church or whatever, like when I was younger, I never really paid attention and I didn't really understand what any of it was talking about. And now I feel like I like have a lot of friends that are religious or like religion comes up in like TV shows or people talk about religion and stuff, or they talk about like people in religious content, like things from the Bible that I just don't know. Like I genuinely don't remember any of that. And I don't know what they're talking about. And I feel like left out because I'm like, I don't know what anyone is talking about. Even in like television or like shows, they'll talk about stuff or like TV shows. What? There was a show that I watched recently. I can't remember the name of it, but it was funny. It was like a funny adaptation of like something religious, I guess. And I did not understand the show. And my boyfriend's like sitting next to me laughing, and I'm like, why are you laughing? And he's like, that's funny. Like, it's from the Bible, like, whatever. And I'm like, I don't understand that. I don't remember any of that. I don't remember any of the context of that. Anyways, long story short, I'm reading the Bible, not really for religious purposes, but like as literature, I'm just reading it. I'm just reading it to read it and to get like, I guess, like historical context. Not that, whatever. I'm not going to dive too deep into that, but that's a book that I'm reading currently, the Bible. Just to read it, just to be like, okay, I read it. I know what's in it now. Sounds good. And who knows what will come of that because I don't. Anyways, moving on. That is just to say that the read 10 pages is for literally anything. And honestly, I don't normally read every day, but when I do read, I'll read more than 10 pages. So this is more so just to get me in the habit of reading every day and making time to read every day. Now that it's summer, it is a lot easier for me to read though, because I'll go out on my patio and I'll read, or like I'll sit by the pool and read and stuff. So that should be an easy one to check off. The next one is journaling and taking a picture every day. So I want to take a picture of how I look every day, more so not even really for like weight loss and stuff like that, but for like seeing how my body is like handling inflammation, to see like, if I do have a flare that day, like what my body's looking like. Because I don't know, with chronic illnesses and inflammation, like you can start to forget like what you actually look like. And yeah, this is just to like give me a little bit more perspective, basically. And then journaling, which this goes back into tracking literally everything that is going on. That's the point of the journal. Really just to be like, okay, what did I eat today? What were my movements? How did I feel about all these things? Was it too hard for me to do? Did I have a flare day? How did I deal with that? Like, what did I modify? If I have a flare the next day, what do I think that flare was from? So like all of that it's just tracking purposes for me. And then the last one that is 100% required is taking my freaking medications and my supplements and my vitamins, okay? It's taking all of those things because I am terrible at staying on top of my medications and my supplements. Like so bad at it. I'm so bad. So this is like something to actually help my health is staying on top of my medications and my supplements. Okay, those are all of the required things for my habits. And then these last four are optional, but just things that I would like to be doing on a perfect day, but if I don't get to them, they're not like the end all be all. So, the first one of that is a social media post every day, which I normally do anyways, but I mean more of like one that I'm actually like spending time on creating. Two, tracking spending. I'm trying to do like low spend and I'm trying to pay off some things. So I'm going to try to just like update my spending tracker every day. Three is 10 minutes on my secret project, my secret project that I'm so excited. I've been working on this for like a year on and off, and I need to like spend some real time on it. So even if it's like 10 minutes every single day, like that is giving me a little bit of time on it. And then the last thing is laying out my clothes the night before because I feel like that makes for a better day. Okay, so those last four are optional. But yeah, that's what we got going on. I have these three pieces of paper that I can check off everything, and I'm really excited about it. Um, yeah. And my motto on this is modify, don't quit. Modify. It's not working. Okay, why isn't it working? Let's modify it. We're not going to quit the challenge. We're just going to modify and move on. If I have a flare day, okay, what can I do that I can still try to like reach the premise of my goal? Let's do that. But also, I'm gonna try to remind myself to give myself grace and don't push. Like if I'm having a major, major flare, it's okay. Oh, I should also say that at the top of here, it says every number, like one, this first page is 1 through 31. So like today is day 2. If I have a major, major flare day, I'm just gonna circle that day and then like in my journal, keep notes of that and be like, okay, that was a major flare day. Like it's okay. Also, for example, like I'm going out of town and like gonna be staying in a hotel for like 3 days at the end of June. So I'm also gonna like circle those days on here and like make note of that because we're not gonna hold ourselves to crazy standards when it's just not possible. I'm gonna try to like pick healthy things still when I'm, out of town, but some things are just out of your control. So gonna try to remember those things. But a lot of this is really just like data for me to figure out how to like help my body. Okay. Anyways, that was a really long-winded explanation. Sorry. I hope you guys stuck with me through that, but I'm really excited about it. I will be posting every single day on social media, talking to you guys about this challenge and all the details with it. I'm also planning on pretty frequently posting the recipes and what types of movements I'm doing, but even if I don't post that every day, at the end of this challenge, I might just do a whole podcast episode about it, but at the very minimum, I'm gonna post like a Google Doc with all of my recipes that I ate and all of the movements and stuff. So be excited about that. That should be good for everybody, I hope. I feel like that's like the biggest update. Yeah, that's the biggest update. Okay, here we go. Let's go ahead and take a really big swig of this coffee. Oh my God. If you guys are in Washington State, you gotta go drink Mercury. They have the best mocha like that has ever existed. It's so good. Well, okay, maybe not ever existed. Shout out Good Harbor in Traverse City, Michigan. That's the best mocha that's ever existed. But for Washington, this one's pretty good. Okay, let's start with this. Your gut is home to trillions of microbes. Trillions, okay? It's estimated that the average person carries about 38 trillion bacteria in their gut, which is actually more bacteria cells than human cells in your entire body. You have more bacteria in your body than you do human cells. Does that mean that we're like really like bacteria and we're not human? Obviously not. But like that's kind of crazy, right? This shit gets me so excited, guys. Like, I love talking about bacteria. I love talking about microorganisms. They're just so cool. These microbes aren't just hanging out either, they're digesting your food. They're in constant conversation with your immune system. In fact, about 70% of your immune system is housed right along your gut lining. Why? Because the gut is technically a barrier between the outside world and the inner body. So, the immune system is there as a first line of defense, deciding which microbes or substances are safe and which ones need to be eaten, basically. Now, when everything is working well, the gut and the immune system are really in this beautiful balance. They work really well together when everything is working well. The gut barrier, which is made up of a single layer of cells and protective mucus layer, acts like a the gut barrier, which is made up of a single layer of cells and a protective mucus layer, acts like a filter. It allows nutrients to pass through while keeping out harmful substances like toxins and bad bacteria, because not all bacteria are our friends. There's some really nasty ones out there. But when this bacteria becomes compromised, what you might have heard called leaky gut, or more technically, increased intestinal permeability, That's when problems start. And here's what happens. The tight junctions between those gut cells loosen. Bacterial fragments, like something called lipopolysaccharides or LPS, can leak into the bloodstream. LPS is highly, highly inflammatory. So your immune system detects it and it mounts a response. Now, this is fine if it only happens once in a while, but if your gut is constantly leaky, you can get chronic low-grade inflammation, the kind that just smolders under the surface and can contribute to all kinds of symptoms. Okay, so there was a paper in Cell 2014 that described this really, really beautifully. How the microbiota and the immune system are in this constant dance, and how disruptions in the gut can drive systemic inflammation. Okay, so why does this matter for us, for those living with chronic illnesses? Well, I mean, in reality, it's because inflammation is like gasoline to the fire of so many of our conditions, right? In endometriosis, inflammation fuels the growth of endometrial lesions and drives pain flares. In PCOS, inflammation worsens insulin resistance and can disrupt hormonal balance. Chronic inflammation contributes to fatigue, that heavy, can't get out of bed fatigue so many of us know so well. And in autoimmune diseases, the gut barrier dysfunction can trigger immune system overactivity, which worsens the attacks on the body's own tissues. And even in mental health, inflammation affects neurotransmitter production, mood, and brain fog. So your gut is not just about digestion, it's a key player. It's a really big player in the inflammatory processes that drive so many of the symptoms that we experience on a daily basis. That's why addressing gut health can sometimes make such a big difference, even when it feels really unrelated at first. Coming up, we'll talk about what disrupts the gut barrier and, most importantly, what we can do to support it. Okay, quick little ad break because if we're talking about inflammation and gut symptoms, I have to mention one of my absolute must-have, must-try during flares, my Spicey Heat Patches from Get Spicey. You've probably heard me rave about these before. They're one of the things that I always reach for when I'm dealing with that awful combo of bloating, stomach pain, and cramping that hits during a flare. They're super cute, they're small, and they actually stay on, which is rare. They're like sticky enough to actually stay on, and they get hot. They get hot, 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 which is exactly what we need in a flare. That's exactly what I need. Heat is like my go-to for pain relief. I use them on my belly for period pain and gut flares, and sometimes on my back too, my lower back. If you want to try them, you can use code ChronicChronicles for a discount, and I'll pop that link in the show notes so you can just click on it. Back to our gut health chat because the goal is less bloating and even fewer flares, right? So now that we understand why gut health matters so much for inflammation, let's talk about how the gut actually gets disrupted in the first place because we know that it's disrupted or potentially disrupted anyways. We hear about this all the time on social media, but no one ever talks about like why that happens or what we can do to fix it. If you're like me, you might be thinking, okay, cool, but why is my gut out of balance? And here's the thing, there are a lot of factors that can chip away at gut health over time. Some of them are obvious and some of them are really sneaky and confusing, so let's break them down. First up, I think you all knew I was going to say this, your diet. This one isn't surprising. Our modern diet is not very gut friendly. Highly processed foods that are low in fiber can starve the beneficial bacteria in your gut. These bacteria thrive on what we call prebiotics, which is basically fiber and certain plant compounds that they ferment into beneficial substances like short chain fatty acids. But when we eat a lot of processed, low fiber foods, we don't feed those good bacteria. Instead, the balance of our microbiome shifts, and usually not in a good way. Low microbial diversity is associated with higher inflammation and more chronic illnesses. So if you've been through periods where your diet was mostly processed foods, no shame at all. I've 100% been there, especially during flares or hard seasons of life when like time just gets away from you and you like go for the easiest things to eat. But it's very likely that your gut took a hit during that time. Okay, the second thing is stress. Oh, stress. This one is a big one for me personally, and maybe for you too. Chronic stress literally changes the way that your gut functions. Stress hormones like cortisol can alter gut motility, meaning how quickly or slowly things move around your gut, and they also increase gut permeability, making your gut barrier more leaky. This is why during times of stress, many people experience bloating, IBS-like symptoms, or flares in their chronic illness. It can become a vicious cycle. Stress affects the gut gets more disrupted, more inflammation, more symptoms, more stress. Really fun cycle, right? I've absolutely seen this in my own body. Really, I mean, during stressful times, my gut symptoms and my fatigue ramp up so fast. I mean, I am like looking 4 months pregnant in the snap of fingers. It's kind of crazy. I am always amazed that my body can do that and disturbed, but like it's crazy. Like how I don't understand our bodies are impressive. The third things are antibiotics and certain medications. Antibiotics are life-saving, right? But they don't discriminate. They wipe out both harmful and beneficial bacteria. Every single course of antibiotics can significantly reduce gut diversity, and it can take weeks or months to rebuild. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't take your antibiotics. You should. If you're prescribed antibiotics, you should take them and make sure you take the full course, okay? Take the full course of antibiotics. Please, please do not leave 2 pills in your bottle, okay? If you want me to go in on my soapbox there, I will. Let me know. I'll give you a personal call. But please don't do that. Take your whole course of antibiotics if you're prescribed them. That's not what I'm saying with this at all. I'm just saying it does kill the bacteria. Okay. Other medications like NSAIDs, which many of us with chronic pain rely on, I'm an ibuprofen queen. Ibuprofen is my drug of choice. They also affect your gut permeability and microbiome balance, unfortunately. Not great. No one wants to hear that, but they're there. This is why after any course of antibiotics or even during long-term medication use with like ibuprofen, it can be really helpful to focus on gut support with like pre and probiotics. Just make sure if you are going to take those that you're taking pre and probiotics that actually like are useful and they're not just like basically gummy candy, which we can, if you're interested, I can also tell you how to like find the correct things. But one big tip is if your pre or probiotic is telling you that it needs to be stored in the fridge, don't take it because if it can't survive outside of the fridge, it can't survive in your stomach to actually do anything for you. Just a hot tip, okay? Another thing is hormonal changes. So here's where things can get especially interesting for those of us living with chronic conditions like PCOS or endo or anything that messes with your hormones. Hormones in the gut are in constant communication. They are besties. They're talking all the time. There's a subset of gut bacteria involved in metabolizing estrogen. In PCOS, studies have shown that the gut microbiota composition is altered. And this is linked to increased inflammation and insulin resistance. There's a really good paper on this that I'll also link. In endometriosis, research found that the gut microbiota profile is different compared to people without endo. There's also potential implications for immune and inflammatory pathways, which there's also a paper on that I can link for you guys. So hormonal imbalances can disrupt the gut, and gut imbalances can worsen hormonal issues. So it's a two-way street. Finally, chronic illness itself. This is such an important point that I really want to drive home. Chronic illnesses, whether it's endo, PCOS, an autoimmune condition, or even long-term fatigue syndromes, can disrupt the gut simply by the nature of living with them. Inflammation itself already alters the gut environment. Pain, limited mobility, disrupted sleep, pretty much any symptom that you have from chronic illness, all of these indirectly affect the gut. And medications used to manage these illnesses also can impact the gut. But it's also bidirectional, meaning that the gut can feed back into the illness process. So poor gut health, more inflammation, worse symptoms, and around and around and around we go. So if you've been feeling like your gut is out of whack, it's not your fault. There's so many reasons why this can happen. Many of them are completely outside of our control. But the empowering part is that once we understand these connections, we can start taking steps to support our gut and gently shift things back towards balance. And that's what we're going to dive into next, so just stay with me. Let's talk about what you can do. So, I'm going to talk about nutrition, lifestyle, and supplements, which I know can all be frustrating things to work on. And I know as somebody living with a chronic illness, like I'm there with you. The most annoying thing for somebody to say to me is, let's mess with your nutrition, let's fix your stressful lifestyle, and let's get you on some supplements, okay? I know that that is the most frustrating thing to say, but we've got to say it. We've got to talk about it, okay? We've got to talk about it, babes. I'm sorry. These are some of the ways that we can fix it, potentially. I'm not going to say fix, help. These are some of the ways we can help, okay? So, the nutrition component, prioritizing fiber is the best thing you can do for gut health. It feeds your good gut bacteria and reduces inflammation. There's also polyphenols, which are berries, olive oils, green tea. There's more of them, but those are really good for your gut bacteria. Fermented foods. I know that for a lot of people with like IBS, that fermented foods are a no-go. So if they're tolerated, you could have things like kefir, sauerkraut, yogurt, stuff like that. And then omega-3 rich foods like fish, flax seeds, walnuts. All of those things are really good additions to your nutrition to help strengthen and balance your gut microbiome. Stress and lifestyle. Okay. I know that this is something that I have tried to manage for a long time and something that like really pissed me off more than anything when I would like go to the doctor for endo flares and my doctor would be like, you need to work on stress management. You need to work on your anxiety. You have anxiety. You need to get on medication for anxiety. You need to live a less stressful life. And I'm looking at her like, I'm not that stressed out. Like, I'm stressed because I'm in pain. I'm not in pain because I'm stressed. Or maybe I am, but I need to not be in pain and then I cannot be stressed. And I still stand by that. I still agree with that. But now I know that they feed into each other. So you kind of have to work on both in tandem, which again is just really frustrating and I'm sorry. But ugh. So some things that I do for stress management are nervous system regulation. I've been experimenting with somatic work like vagus nerve stimulation and breath work. My favorite thing to do is box breathing, where you literally breathe in for 4, hold for 4, breathe out for 4, hold for 4, and just keep doing it. I do that all the time. Like, even when I'm not actually stressed, because one thing about me is that I actually don't know when I'm stressed, which has always made it really hard for me to quote unquote manage my stress because I'm like, I don't feel, I think I just live in a constant stress. So it's hard for me to like pinpoint that I am stressed and even like manage it. I don't know. So I do breath work and this like box breathing numerous times throughout the day. Whenever I think about it, I'm like, oh, I should do some box breathing. And it takes, you could do it for 30 seconds and that's fine. You are literally taking something that is something that you don't think about and is involuntary, like your heart rate, your breath work, like all that stuff, and you're switching from your fight. Oh my gosh, you are switching manually in your brain from the fight and flight mode to the rest and digest because your brain works on manual stimulation, right? Like your brain obviously has emotions and feelings and blah, 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 blah. But when you go down to the nuts and bolts of the situation, your brain is working off cues. So your gut and your digestive system literally has to wait for your body to be out of fight or flight, aka your breath to slow, your heart rate to slow, your blood pressure to come down. All of those things have to like physically happen for your brain to allow your body to go into rest and digest. So when you do nervous system regulation, box breathing, breath work, whatever you do to calm yourself down, you are quite literally putting your body into that and allowing yourself to calm down, which when I understood the science behind it, which I can also, I'll link in the show notes. this like masterclass video, quick little video that's on the neuroscience behind like breath work and why it actually works. Because I think it's a short watch. I actually don't remember how long it is, but just watch it. Because if you're like me and like you need to actually understand that it will work and the science behind it for something to work, then you'll get it. But once I finally understood like the neuroscience behind it and like what breath work and nervous system regulation is actually doing, I'm like, oh, this isn't a bunch of like woo-woo bullshit. Like it will work. It's a real thing. So anyways, that's just one thing. Try the box breathing, please. Another thing is sleep, which everyone knows you need good sleep. You need a lot of sleep. You need quality sleep. Your circadian rhythm helps regulate gut function. You need good sleep for your body to recover. You also need good sleep for memories to form. I've struggled with sleep for a long time and living in chronic stress and chronic fatigue and chronic pain and yeah, all the things. I feel like I have short-term memory loss, maybe even long-term memory loss. I feel like I just have memory loss in general. And I'm like, I don't remember that, like, this is a dumb example, but like kind of relevant. But like my boyfriend and I will watch TV shows and I could rewatch the show and not realize that I've watched that. Like there'll be like one thing that'll happen and I'll be like, oh wait, I feel like I've watched this. Or I could reread a book and not know that I read it. I feel like that can't be, I don't think that's a normal thing for people. I remember that things happen, but I can't remember details about them. I can't remember a lot of my life. Like it's just gone. Like I literally can't recall information. And it wasn't always like that. I used to have a really good memory, like really, really good memory. And over the last probably 10 years, my memory has gotten really bad. And it scares me. I'm like, what is going on? Like I can't remember anything. Anyways, one of those things that I've realized is that you need good sleep. You need quality sleep for your body to process your memories and to store them into long-term memories or short-term memories, or your body to recover, your body to heal, your body to digest your food. Like all of these things, you need good sleep for that. And I don't get good sleep because I'm in constant stress and in constant pain. So that's also like something that I've been trying to figure out how to work on. So when I figure out how to fix that, I will let you know so that you can also figure out how to fix that. But at the moment, I'm trying to like take magnesium before I go to bed because I've read that that is supposed to help. But anyways, sleep is essential. It's not just something that people say. It is literally essential for your body to function properly. The other thing that you can do for your gut are take some supplements, which I know we don't want to add more things for you to do in your day. I'm horrible at taking supplements. I'm just going to give you three. Also, this is based on personal experience and based on personal research. This is not medical advice. If you're going to take a supplement, please consult your doctor or your healthcare provider or whatever and make sure that you are good to go on taking those, because some supplements, vitamins, whatever, can interact with medications and they're not made equally, okay? Please just consult a healthcare professional. Okay, that being said, the first one would be probiotics, but like I said earlier, they're not all created equally. I have tried Just Thrive, which I like. So I can also, if you guys are interested, I can make like an Instagram post or something or put it on my like link which one I take in my story. Let me know. Another one, this one, okay. Magnesium and omega-3, I think, are the biggest things that you could do in general for your body. Like if I were to take two supplements, I could only take two supplements. I think it would be magnesium and omega-3. Omega-3 is inherently anti-inflammatory, and magnesium supports mobility and calms your nervous system. Also, I'm pretty sure that there was a study that, well, first of all, I have known for probably 10 years that like everyone is deficient in magnesium, and I feel like I was like the first on that train. Like I've been taking magnesium for 10 years. I feel like I was like really early on that train, and I was like, guys, why isn't everybody taking this? Like I feel so good. Why isn't everybody taking magnesium? And I'm like, everybody's deficient in it, I swear to God. And now it's true. It is coming out that everyone is like deficient in magnesium. So, but not all magnesiums are the same. There's different types of magnesium. There's different types of magnesium. So just research them a little bit and figure out which type you should have. Personal note, Gut support has helped my bloating, my mood, my energy, and even my pain. But it's very individual. So start slow and listen to your body. And it's not, nothing we ever talk about is going to be a quick fix. It's not like you're going to do any of these things and feel immediately better tomorrow. Like your body is a system. Your body is quite literally a series of systems working together as one big system. And it's not, there's like nothing is a quick fix ever. So just keep that in mind. Things take time. Okay, now for the part that I know you're all probably waiting for. So, what has this looked like for me in real life? Well, when I first started focusing on gut health, I started out by simply adding more fiber and more polyphenols like berries, greens, olive oil. I usually try to go for olive oil over butter. That's typically what I'm doing. I cook with olive oil for like everything. I also will like drizzle olive oil on things. But of course, everything in moderation. Don't go crazy. I also built in stress reducing practices. Like I said, the box breathing. That's like my number one stress reducing thing. I also experimented with probiotics. Like I said, not all worked for me, so you have to listen to your body and switch things up. A lot of this is trial and error and tracking and figuring out like how your body is responding to things and listening to that. I focus on consistency, not perfection, especially during flares or tough seasons. I'm just going to reiterate, none of this is a magic fix, but it's a powerful piece of the puzzle that has helped me feel more resilient in my body. This is just a small piece in the giant puzzle that is inflammation and chronic illness, but it is a piece of the puzzle that matters. Just to recap, the key ways to support your gut to calm inflammation are one, prioritize fiber and polyphenol-rich foods. Two, incorporate fermented foods if you tolerate them. Three, manage stress and support your nervous system. I do box breathing. Four, figure out your sleep schedule and really, really focus in on sleep. If you're going to take anything from this, I would say fix your sleep first. This is the biggest thing. Well, one of the biggest things, but I would do this first and then come back and listen to this episode and pick something else to work on. Five, consider targeted supplements if appropriate. Six, be patient. Gut healing is a journey, it's not an overnight fix. Now that we've covered the science and some practical strategies, I want to get a little bit more personal. Because for me, learning about gut inflammation and connection wasn't just something I read about in research papers, although I have. It became something I felt in my body and something that I recognized in my body. And honestly, my gut journey has not been a straight line. It has been kind of a roller coaster, just like all of my chronic illnesses. If I go back a few years when my endo and PCOS were really flaring, my gut was a mess. And honestly, okay, I'm gonna be transparent with you as well that I think it is still a mess right now, but slightly better. But still a mess. Still, I'm a work in progress. Okay? I'm not perfect. I was bloating after almost every meal, nausea, fatigue, sometimes loose stools, sometimes constipation, and I just felt like I couldn't win. At the time, I didn't really understand how much stress was impacting my gut. I also didn't realize that the inflammation from my conditions and the medications I was using to manage them were also playing a really big role. I would go through phases of trying to fix my gut with extreme elimination diets or tons of supplements, and honestly, that just backfired. It made me more anxious about food and sometimes worsened my symptoms. The biggest lesson I've learned is that supporting the gut and not even just supporting the gut, but like supporting my body has to be gentle and it has to be sustainable. Although I love a good challenge, I love a good habit, goal seeking type of thing, I can't do anything too extreme because it just hurts my body. I have to be gentle. I have to really be paying attention to what my body is telling me, and I have to adjust. What's helped me the most is one, simplifying my approach to food. Instead of focusing on what I cut out, I started focusing on what to add in. Although I do still cut some things out, or maybe like or maybe like switch out things so then I can, like, for example, I love a mocha latte. Most mornings, my coffee now is espresso and then Fairlife protein chocolate shake, which still is giving me that like mocha creamy drink that I love. So it's not really like cutting out things so that I can't have that. It's more like switching things out or just adding things in. Like I can still have a egg scramble, that I would normally eat, but I'm trying to add in more things to that scramble, more vegetables, more color, and just make it a little bit more healthy. One of the biggest things that I focus on with food is adding in fiber, adding in colors, adding in healthy fats, and trying to like crowd out the inflammatory stuff without obsessing on it, which is really, really hard to do because it is something I think about all the time. The second thing that has really helped me is stress regulation, which I know I've said multiple times in this episode, but hands down, stress regulation and sleep are the most impactful things that I've done for my body overall, but also my gut. And I started doing somatic work like the nervous system regulation, the box breathing, and gentle yoga, like stuff like that. When my nervous system is more regulated, my digestion is so much better. I feel better after meals. I feel less nauseous. I feel less bloated. I have regular bowel movements because it's not normal to not poop every day. That's another discussion for a different day. The third thing that has really helped me is consistency, not perfection, which I know I've said, but I would say that I'm a type A perfectionist. I used to think that I had to be perfect every single day, or my body would freak out, or my gut would freak out. And honestly, it happens anyway. Like, chronic illness is so unpredictable, and you can do everything right and still have a flare. It sucks. And that has really taken a toll on me and my mental health, and really made me at war with this like type A perfectionist mentality that I have. And it's made me let go of it a little bit because it's just, you can't be perfect. You can't, not in everything that you do. And it's really hard. I try to think that building in supportive habits most of the time matters more than perfectionism. Is that a word? Matters more than perfection. We'll say that. And the last thing that I think has really, really helped me is tracking, which again, I know I've said this like several times in this episode, but this is one of the reasons I'm just like so passionate about tracking symptoms and tracking patterns and just having this data to back up what is going on in my body has helped me see patterns that I otherwise couldn't spot or honestly like can't remember. Like I know that I have flares, but I'm like, but like what did I eat that day? Or like I said, I have fucking memory problems. So I'm like, I don't remember what I did or what I ate or, like if I was stressed, if I had a regular bowel movement that day, like I can't remember. So tracking everything has given me that data to look back on and understand a little bit more about what's going on in my body. Because honestly, I've started thinking about my body as more of a machine. And that's actually really helped my mental health. Like, really. Like, thinking of my body as more of like a machine. Like, it has mechanical signals that it has to do. Like, it has things. I mean, it is a machine in reality. I don't know. That has really helped me. Maybe start thinking about your body as a machine. And I'll be honest, there are things that I'm still working on. I still struggle with bloating a lot. Bloating is like one of my biggest symptoms oh God, it puts me over the edge, especially during certain times of my cycle, especially around my luteal phase and my menstrual phase, I think, is when my bloating is the worst. But travel really disrupts my gut. This is something that I'm trying to plan better for and trying to understand like what I can do. But like, I will tell you without a doubt that it's so frustrating, but without a doubt, I will get bloated on a flight, and the first day, at least, sometimes the first 2 days of my travel are like really disrupted because I am like bloated beyond belief and it's so painful. Like so painful. None of my outfits look cute. God forbid I'm going on a tropical vacation because that fucking sucks. When you get there and you only have like 5 days on this trip and the first 2 days I look 6 months pregnant. Like that is really, really hard. Yeah, traveling is really, really hard on my body. I'm still learning what probiotic strains work the best for my body because, like I said, not all of them do. And when life gets really stressful, surprise, surprise, my gut is the first thing to react. My bloating will be, hey, babe, I'm here. It's an ongoing journey, and I think it always will be. And I think that's another like mindset shift that I'm like starting to come to terms with is that like I actually will probably never be healthy. Like I will never be quote unquote cured. I will never feel great. This is chronic. It's going to be here. It's going to be something that I have to work on probably every day for the rest of my life. And that is scary and sad to me, but also empowering because I learn more about my body every day and I'm figuring it out. We're going to get there. We're going to figure out what to do in those situations because it's not going away. So like the least that I can do for myself is figure out like what to do when these things happen or how to live the best life that I can live with the cards that I was dealt. Okay. I would really love to hear from you because I know so many of us are on this gut health roller coaster together. So if you're listening on Spotify, you can leave comments. I'd love to know what's helped your gut, what hasn't, what questions do you have about this whole gut inflammation connection? Leave your comments right here on Spotify. Or if you're listening on any other platform, well, if you're watching on YouTube, you can also leave comments. I don't think you can leave comments on Apple Podcasts, but you can also follow me on Instagram and my posts that I'll make about this. Leave your comments there, please. I would love to hear from you guys about this and figure out what we have in common in our gut health journeys and what we don't and what's helped you and what hasn't and any questions you have because this is my jam. I love bacteria. Bacteria. If you want to share, come hang out with me over on Instagram at Chronic Chronicles Pod. You can DM me, you can comment, anything. Love talking with you. Or if you're more of an email person, you can email me anytime. I love hearing from you all. All of the ways you can contact me are also in the show notes, but truly, the more we share with each other, the more we can learn and support one another. Before we wrap up this episode, I do want to give a quick shout out to another brand that I absolutely love, Period Isle. If you're working on supporting your gut and calming inflammation, having products that are gentle on your body really matters. That's one of the reasons why I switched to Period Isle's reusable period underwear. They're free of harmful chemicals, they're super comfortable, and they've honestly made managing my period so much easier, especially when I'm already dealing with gut symptoms or a flare. Plus, there's much less waste, which makes me and the planet happy. You can check out all their products at Period Isle and use code Chronic Chronicles for a discount. I'll have the link in the show notes for you as well. They've been a game changer for me, especially on those hard flare days. If there's one thing I hope you take away from this conversation, it's that your gut and your inflammation are connected. And even small steps to support your gut can ripple into how you feel every single day. This is not about perfection, it's about curiosity, it's about tuning into your body, and about experimenting with what works for you. And if you're like me and you love tracking things and seeing patterns, maybe like keep an eye out for a secret project whenever that happens. I don't know. That's like a little Easter egg for you guys. I found that tracking has given me so much insight, and I can't wait to share more about all of that at some point in the future. Who knows when that will happen. But yeah, if you found this episode helpful, please, please take a moment to rate and review the podcast on whatever platform you're listening on. It truly helps so much in getting the show into the ears of more people who need this kind of support. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for listening. And thank you so much for being a part of this incredible community. I love you all so much. And I will see you next week. Okay.